Looks like something bad happened. I guess you forgot about me. Want to see the sleeping room? You won't die. 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 But you'll wish you could.
What's up, everyone? Kilosaurus Rex here, and we just got back from watching FNAF 2, Five Nights at Freddy's, a movie 2. I've decided that I'm going to do some movie ratings now because I love film, and I love watching movies, and I love watching movies with my friends, and I brought a friend along to help me rate Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This is my AI-generated friend because there's no way a real friend would be able to tolerate this shit. Say something now.
Oh, hi, I'm Sparks.
This is Sparks. We have a lot to talk about because the one thing that I really want to talk about is the fact that it's teasing so many sequels at once. Like, how many cliffhangers did we count at the end of the movie?
4 or 5.
4 or 5 fucking cliffhangers.
Not including the after credit scene.
I know, not including the after credits, because oh my god. Okay, if you haven't already seen the movie, go watch it, because it's a lot of fun. In actuality, movie-wise, I like it. I do like the whole horror aspect of it, and it has a whole new style to Five Nights at Freddy's that we haven't actually seen in the games, because the marionette actually possessed people. Mm-hmm. It never did that in the games, and it was actually really fucking cool.
That's definitely a new attribute.
Oh yeah, and the eyes that they did that. I don't know how they did the effects for the people's eyes, but it looked really cool. I have to say it was probably digital effects, but it was really nice.
Oh, they're making for the new movies. Have you ever seen Sinners?
I feel like I have.
Vampire. You'd remember it if you had.
Okay,
but
yeah.
They actually made contacts that are supposed to be like cat's eyes when you shine a light on them, and they flicker like that.
Oh, that's
they
so
made,
cool.
They invented contacts for that movie.
No fucking way.
Or they're working on it for it or something like that.
I would love that. I would love contacts that would reflect like that.
Yeah, and they hurt your eyes like hell. It was showing the main actor, and he was his eyes were all red and fucked up. Yeah.
Ow. What'd you think of the plot overall?
The plot? I don't know. It was a little drawn out and a little scattered, but overall not the worst that I've seen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I have two different opinions of this movie. One as someone who really likes movies and really likes horror movies, and it's completely entirely separate opinion as someone who likes Five Nights at Freddy's. I think is the thing is there's certain aspects in relation to the game that I really like and got excited for, but as a movie, I don't know. I think I'm just picky.
Exactly. I feel like it's not just me, because I'm there's this whole attitude that it's two different personalities that you bring to the movie, because there's the gaming personality that I bring that's how much of this is going to actually be in touch with the game, how much of this is going to respect it, and then there's the movie aspect of me that is just all right, let's keep an eye out for film.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
There's a couple choice shots in there that were cool, when Vanessa walked in and it was in the mirror and then it zoomed out to show that that she wasn't like in the mirror. It was like the whole reflection thing.
Yeah.
There's like maybe a few scenes like that where I was like, oh, that's a well done cinematography scene.
I did like the way the puppet jumped out at people.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
because it's like it's just the face standing still, which is I want to say that might be reminiscent of the game, but in the same way that actually might be a great way of like cinema, because the face stands still for a second, and then you see the limbs just pop out from behind it, and that was really fucking cool.
That was freaky.
It was actually a genuinely scary moment. The marionette was considerably scarier than it was in the game, because I want to talk about like the differences between the movie and the game now, because we got the main villain of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, obviously the marionette, because Purple Guy, he's waiting. He's waiting for the movie.
He's scheming, he's plotting.
I always come. Yeah, I know.
What did you think of that?
I really dug it.
Yeah?
I really like Marionette's design in general, and I really like the plot behind it. It made it work. It made it... I shouldn't say they took an easy way out, but that was a really good and easy plot point for them to latch on to, was that. And I love the like, foreshadowing for like a minute and a half of like Charlotte was her name, right? And having the like striped sleeves and stuff like that. Like, they really kind of geared up.
I feel like they did that for the hardcore fans to be the second we saw her striped sleeves in the beginning of the movie,
You were like,
oh my gosh!
Like you're waiting for it from the beginning.
I kind of wish that, in all honesty, I love the marionette being the villain, but I kind of wish that they would have a little bit more, like, ties to the game in terms of, like, origin. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the way that, this is gonna sound so fucking horrible on camera, but I love the way that Charlie died.
Yeah.
I love how she was just saving a kid, going down a hallway while Springtrap was chasing her with the fucking knife. It's actually genuinely scary, and you remember in the theater I suggested putting that into one of the games, because that'd be scary as fuck. And those animatronic human footsteps get louder as you go forward, and that's just, oh my god, the panic that would ensue. And honestly, it felt like something completely new and completely different, but I'm like, I kind of miss the way that she died in the FNAF games, because it was kind of an unprovoked act of violence where Michael Afton, out of the costume, just full on killed Charlie. Yeah, I can't remember if it was...
Funsies.
Just for funsies.
Just for a laugh.
It was just, you know, it was kind of funny.
Shits and giggles.
In all honesty, it does feel like a really good way to tie it into, like, the whole how Charlie possessed the marionette, because in the game, the marionette was supposed to, like... The marionette's thing was, it was a security puppet supposed to stop kids from leaving the restaurant without their parents. And it was supposed to keep track of where Charlie was in the restaurant, because she had a special green bracelet. And as soon as the marionette was actually pranked by the kids, because they made it like stay in the box, and then they actually bullied Charlie by leaving her outside, because it was the other kids that were bullying her, and the marionette figured out that her bracelet was outside, so it immediately popped out of the box. But after Purple Guy killed her, it still tried to complete its mission, so it detached itself from the strings and crawled out to her. But
I wish there would have been more pieces of that in
Right?
the movie, because that had the potential to be a really cool scenario, and I think they kind of cheated with it. They took shortcuts.
yeah, I did like the element where Charlie fell into the marionette's arms, but yes, that was cool. Really pretty. That was really well done the way they did that. She just died on the floor, and it's like as she's dying, the floor opens up and the puppet catches her spirit as it's passing on, and that was so cool. But
that was well done.
I still really miss the aspect of the game.
It really pisses me off that I know it's a movie, but the fact that that's happening, and the marionette is not moving very fast at all, and it's like carrying her, and all these parents are just like,
I know,
like,
right?
barely fucking paying attention. Like, they don't make even a noise. No one's like,
Nobody-
oh shit, that kid's dead. Like, no one says anything.
To be honest, there's a little bit of reality in that, but there's not that much, because I don't know if you've seen Knives Out, but the way that movie starts out is the maid literally discovers her boss's dead body, and the way she reacts is actually genuine, because it's like, you don't immediately scream when you see a dead body, because your mind's in shock of what you're seeing. So instead of screaming, she just immediately goes shock and goes limp, and she drops the breakfast tray, and that's kind of a jump scare.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's like, at some point, the parents have to scream, because we were looking at Charlie and the dead body for, like, how many minutes?
Right, and they never, like, they showed the parents' initial reaction, which was already not very dramatic, but then when it zoomed out on her, you couldn't really see anyone's face.
No.
And you couldn't, so it seemed like just a bunch of people standing in a room. Like, it's like they told the extras, okay, now you guys just look.
Yeah,
Just ponder.
Just watch
the
this.
Dead child.
There's
I really liked her. I really liked her falling, like screaming and then falling over, and then you see all the fucking knife points on her
Oh
back.
my god, yeah.
That was good.
That was pretty nice the way they did that. It was like, it's kind of like the fight or flight instinct where she's so focused on getting this child to safety, she almost doesn't realize that she's been stabbed in the back
it's
3
very that.
times.
It's the only reason she stayed alive for as long as she did was just the adrenaline.
Yeah, and I like
let's
that.
go.
I feel like that ties into the character a whole lot because this is one of the things that they really did right. Charlie actually really cares about the kids because she cares about the way that they died in the games, and she cares about their lives in the movie because she didn't want them to die at first, but when she died, she wasn't exactly... Well, she was kind of like the first-ish. The theories are kind of loose on this because it's whether Charlie came first or not, but she was kind of like a drunk act of violence. But she helped the kids carry on their mission, like their unfinished business. She gave them life to the animatronics. Yeah. So it's like she really cares, and they really actually emphasize that really well in the movie because, like, even though it's just one kid that she tried to save, it really did a lot for the character in the film.
Yeah, it gives her its humble beginning. It really kind of ties it all through.
And speaking of the way Charlie died, the reaction that we got from the parents is kind of the reason why she's the main villain. Like, it's not just the fact that it's wooden acting, it's the fact that they didn't do shit. So, but I do not like how nobody screamed or no one even got up at the reaction to Charlie's death. They just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
But even before that, she was trying to inform the parents, like, there's a child being dragged into the back, there's a child, life is in danger, and parents didn't do jack shit. So Charlie's angry at them, and the second she gets woken up, she's going out for revenge against the parents. But you said there was like a time gap in between, like the 1982 and the parents that were like, they would be grandparents at this point, right?
I really wish they would have, because it was just parents, not those parents, just any parents ever, and that kind of cheapened it a little bit because they could have, like, I mean, think about it. If these people are going to this pizzeria, what are the chances that they live relatively close? You could at least go with, like, one of the couples who still lives a block away. Like, that would be plausible. That would be incredibly plausible. Maybe involve, like, grandchildren and stuff like that. Because that would have kind of made a lot more sense versus just going to some and there was no... They just went to a random house. Like, it wasn't the first house they saw either.
Nope, it was a completely random house.
A house blocks away that they were just like, you know what, this single mom, I just can't, just hate her guts.
I don't like you.
Yeah, like,
I don't like you. These fat middle-aged parents, something about them is off. I find it funny how the fat Freddy animatronic went after the fat middle-aged parents. Like, goddamn.
Now, yeah, that was weird too, because it was like parents who don't have children at home anymore, so that could have made sense because you could have thought, oh, maybe that was one of those parents that told her to fuck off.
Yeah, if it was like parents that were on their own, like at grandparent age, like not actually having kids in the house, like that would have made more sense, but like they targeted parents that still had kids in their house. Not to mention, it was not even parents from when she got killed because their children were like this fucking tall. It was years since Charlie died. Vanessa's fully grown, obviously.
Exactly.
Vanessa and Charlie were best friends.
Yes.
Growing up, I don't think that was a part of the game. As a matter of fact,
I don't think so.
Yeah, Elizabeth didn't even know Charlie in the games. They never met. You would think, like, after seeing the movie and looking back on the games, Henry and William were business partners, and you would think that if they were working together so much, they might have met each other's families. Like, what was the wife's name? William's wife's name was, come on, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know her fucking name. It was Clara Afton. Yeah, Clara. You'd think that Clara would have met Henry, and you'd think Mike, Evan, or Elizabeth would have met Charlie at some point, but there's no reference in the games as to whether they met. But in the movies, they draw attention to it like their kids were best friends growing up. And speaking of Henry's family, Henry only has like 1 or 2 scenes in the movie, and it's unconfirmed.
Yeah.
Did they even tell us if his name was Henry?
Yeah, they did.
They did?
Yeah,
Okay.
he introduced himself. He introduced himself as Henry.
You're right, he did. He did introduce himself as Henry, and when he
I was
met
so
him,
excited about that. That was Skeet Ulrich. That made my heart so happy.
yeah,
It
he's
works perfect.
For those of you who don't know who plays Henry, well, Sparks, you would know more about this than me. Tell.
Oh, Skeet Ulrich, the guy in Scream. I'm struggling to remember his name because it was him and Matthew Lillard.
Oh, him and Matthew Lillard in
Yes, they were the
in which Scream movie?
first one, the original.
Scream 1996. Let's see. Come
I'm
on.
gonna remember his name and be pissed that I didn't remember it.
Let's see.
Billy.
It's
Sorry.
Billy?
Billy and Stu. It was
Oh, Billy and Stu. Okay, yeah,
so
they were.
Henry is played by Billy in Scream.
Okay, that is actually cute because Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich were both in the original Scream movie,
Yeah.
and now they're in the Five Nights at Freddy's series together.
Which is such. Think about how crazy that is. The difference between horror 30 years ago, almost exactly 30 years ago,
Oh my God, you're right. Almost.
and then what it's turned into nowadays, like what pop culture modern horror looks like.
Fuck, that's a huge difference.
That's a huge stark contrast.
Oh, Jesus. And the Scream franchise is still going, but still, modern horror has changed so goddamn much. And the two of them, oh my God. And were they friends in the original Scream movie?
Like in the movie or in real life?
In the movie.
In the movie, yeah, they were friends.
Okay, so they're friends, and now, and in this movie...
They were the killers together.
Oh, they were killers together?
They were killers together.
That's
so
so
cute.
sweet. Oh, but in Five Nights at Freddy's, only one of them's a killer, unfortunately. Matthew Lillard's the killer in this one, and essentially, Skeet's character is supposed to be like the savior at the end of it, because I don't know how much you know about the game, but like overall Henry comes back in Pizzeria Simulator to make probably the most ultimate comeback in the history of gaming, because we don't really see him much after his daughter's death. He kind of disappears for most of the games. In fact, right after William kills Charlie, he starts to advance in his work and his need for killing children, so he just zooms forward so much that we don't even know where Henry went. Or actually, that is a bit of a lie, because he did try to make the Freddy Fazbear 2 location, but that was it. He tried to make Freddy Fazbear location 2, and then he tried to protect the kids, but William came back. He closed it down because he killed 5 more kids. Didn't even hide his crime this time. He didn't try to hide the kids. He just left them on the floor somewhere. And then after that, William got stuffed sometime later, and then one final time we see Henry come back to inspect the damage, and we see Henry actually sees William in the Springtrap suit, and that's the last we see of Henry for years, because he immediately seals off the room. And that was one of my favorite bits of lore, because like William hanging on to life by a thread is waiting for a Henry to actually come in and inspect the damage, because an owner needs to come in to inspect the break-in. And so the two of them, not having seen each other in years, Henry, we all know that Henry was suspectful of William, but William didn't know that Henry was actually on his trail, so he was hopeful. Part of him was hopeful that his friend would get him out of this.
Yeah.
But Henry didn't say shit, just looked him in the eye, turned, and left. That was awesome. I would have loved to see how they would put that in cinema, but obviously it's not gonna happen.
Right. I think they try and cram so many random details and so many new elements that I feel like they miss out on a lot of really good ideas that could have been used. Mm-hmm. I think with Vanessa and Charlotte being like besties and stuff, I was really expecting there to be this huge aspect of Vanessa feeling like guilt for it, like feeling as if it's her fault, because I mean, she was in her dad's restaurant, like it was her dad's doing, and she was there, like she was talking to her the whole time, and she like tried to stop her, but like I still expected there to be like an element of like, oh, I told her to come to the restaurant that day, I dragged her with me even though I knew it was unsafe. And Vanessa just doesn't seem to really give a shit. Like she does and she doesn't. Like she's already, despite the fact that she hasn't accepted all the things going on with her father, she seems as in this weird place of like, I'm totally healed from what happened to her. It's not my fault. It's nobody's fault. Like, which is a weird namaste moment, considering she's seeing fucking Springtrap everywhere and like tweaking the fuck out all the time about everything else, but is just like, oh, Charlotte, you need to be better.
Like, the only thing that she's having nightmares about is her dad, despite the fact that there's
She
so many
watched
people.
her fucking best friend like bleed out, like.
Yeah, she watched her best friend fall into a pit and die.
Like, she seems a little unbothered by that, which is a little strange, but hey.
Yeah.
Everyone deals with death differently.
Apparently, people mourn differently, and that's another thing. Do we know whose birthday it was at the beginning? Because I don't think it was.
No, I think it was just some random ass kid.
Yeah, because I was like, if Vanessa and Charlotte were really besties, then why didn't Charlotte go to Vanessa for help? Like, why didn't she come up to her best friend and say, "There's no one helping me. You gotta come help."
That also didn't make sense either.
Yeah.
Because she had to have been right there. They never elaborate on that. She had to have been right there. And she wasn't there for that kid's birthday party because that kid clearly had nothing to fucking do with it. So I'm assuming it was like, oh, they were both there because Vanessa's dad was the owner and things like that.
Vanessa's one of the biggest fucking hypocrites I've ever seen in history because
Yeah.
she's like, it won't kill you to celebrate this birthday and have a slice of cake. And then when we go to the birthday scene, where's Vanessa?
Yeah, where'd she go?
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, and it's like that could have been foreshadowing and like led up to something like where was Vanessa? Like that could have been a mystery that could have been solved with something interesting at some point, but no, it was kind of just a hole where a plot should have been.
Are you referring to one of them plot holes?
I am. Thank you for putting it into more simple words.
Of course, the TISM tends to elaborate in the most extreme way possible, but we often forget there's a simpler term for them. It's okay.
It happens all the time, no worries.
Right? It always fucking happens. But, oh my god, I feel like there's a lot that they missed out on story-wise, like, in the movie, like, not just from, like, thinking of someone who knows the game very well, but also someone who knows movies very well, knows cinema a whole lot. There's a lot of, like, actual plot holes. Like, for one thing, what is Michael still doing here?
They're going through all these very, very unnecessary hoops, and maybe if they were to like go through this whole like Joker arc where he's like, I just like to play the game and watch people suffer, it would be one
God
thing.
damn.
But he doesn't really do that, and he just kind of looks like a weirdo the whole time and has his weird pulled back haircut and his very intense eyebrows.
Really, yeah.
And he just kind of looks unsettling and is like, I'm here to carry on my dad's legacy, and everyone's like, no,
don't do that.
don't do that.
I feel like Michael Afton appearing in the movie is like the reason he's trying to get Vanessa back into the spiel of things is because he's like, I think Michael was the least favorite child in the entire family.
Absolutely.
Michael, I don't think William liked Michael at all. And now that he's growing up, he 100% has that vibe of like, I'm sorry I was such a disappointment, Father. Let me prove
his
myself.
dad's approval.
Yes!
After death.
Even
Absolutely.
After death, he's trying to make his father proud, and I'm like, part of me thinks he has no idea how to do that, so he's asking for Nessa to join him and like, how are you the golden child? Tell me. Come work with me.
See, and I wish they would have elaborated, unless they're gonna do it in like the next one. I wish, because they don't have to be so direct with everything. Like, you don't have to come out and say like, you are the favorite, I want to be the favorite, but you can like, you can use subtleties and like imply it in dialogue and imply his distress around it. But
Yeah.
I guess it might have been a little, it was implied.
Maybe, yeah, but to kind of like correlate the fact that this is a movie being made from a game, you can take advantage of one thing that the game did, and that is flashbacks out the ass.
Absolutely.
Every time you make it past the night in one of the games, you get this pixelated cutscene that is basically a flashback 10, 20 years prior.
Yes.
So, hell, every morning you could do a flashback of a random character. Hell, Michael Afton could have had flashbacks all fucking throughout the entire fucking movie. I would have loved to see that, but one thing that I am really pissed about the whole Michael thing is Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton are completely different characters.
And why did they have to give him that name? They could have chosen. It was their movie. It's like, why that name?
I don't know,
Was it-
man.
I don't know if that's going to become like an issue later on.
Oh,
like,
it's-
if they're like setting it up for that to be like a huge conflict where it's like, you're Mike, no, you're Mike. You know,
For all
like
we...
a who's on first bit. I don't know, something like that.
They're gonna trick William Afton into thinking Michael Schmidt is Michael Afton, something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, like, is that a whole fucking build up for that?
God, I don't know. I hope not. But one of the reasons I'm really so pissed about it is because the lore in the game is that Michael Schmidt is Michael Afton. He goes back to the... in the timeline-wise, Michael Afton goes back to the different locations under the alias of a different name, because at first he wasn't very creative. He's like, so how do I go back? I just changed my last name. I'm not that big a deal without my last name, but since it's what he does at the end of his shifts. He always sets the location on fire to set the spirits free. So Mike Schmidt was fired in the first game for tampering with electronics and odor, because it's established in the later games that he smelled like a corpse, but tampering with the animatronics made them misfire and set the location on fire. So he had to go back to Five Nights at Freddy's, or the Fazbear location number 2, and he had to go under a completely different name because they weren't going to rehire Michael Schmidt. In fact, anyone named Michael, they would immediately investigate because someone named Michael started a fire at a different Freddy Fazbear's. So
it probably rings a couple bells.
Right?
Yeah.
So he changed his name to Jeremy, I think, and then at some point, I think in the third game his name was Fritz, but and I think this is a reference to the kids that William killed, because Jeremy was the names of one of the kids and Fritz was definitely one of the names of the kids. Like, overall, the names of the kids that were killed were Susie, Jeremy, Fritz, Gabriel, and Cassidy. There were 5 original victims. And the thing is, we've seen all, in the movies, these 4 kids, we've seen all but one of them. We haven't seen Cassidy. In fact, the one that we have seen that is more theorized than Cassidy is Evan, the striped kid shirt, essentially William Afton's youngest child, and he was the one that was killed by Fredbear.
Was that the bite of
That's another thing that I wanted to touch basis on. Fredbear was seen in the first movie, but the only thing we saw of Fredbear in the second movie was Evan, the kid who possessed him, and I'm like, alright, what's your plan for Fredbear, movie makers? Is Fredbear's Family Diner gonna be relevant at some point? How are you... In fact, I even touched bases on this in the theater. How are they gonna make Five Nights at Freddy's 4? Because that's the prequel of the entire franchise. Way back in Fredbear's Family Diner with his youngest kid. And hell, we play as Michael because he's the one who's having nightmares for being the reason his youngest son died. So...
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of can of worms, and I'm curious as to how they'll bring Fredbear and Spring Bonnie into the whole equation. Like,
yeah, I think they're trying super hard to cram so many details in, and especially with all the setups that they made in this movie.
And we did mention that in the first bit there were so many cliffhangers, and now that we're getting through the movie, we'll bring up the cliffhangers. So, what was the first cliffhanger that we saw? That was Sister Location, Circus Baby. Circus Baby was in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. We saw in a dream sequence Vanessa went to her dad's secret laboratory and Circus Baby was back there and she looked at Vanessa. And the thing about that is the fact that they brought in Circus Baby means that there's going to be Afton Robotics, Circus Baby and Rentals, Circus Baby's Pizza World, and I don't know if they're going to do the full game route. They probably won't, because essentially William Afton had a warehouse under his home. So I don't think that's possible. We're mostly going to get this lab that he had, and Circus Baby's going to be standing there. And he's uncomfortably obsessive with the whole Circus Baby because he wasn't really that obsessive in the game. Even though we never see William, actually, see him as a character, we can tell that he wasn't as obsessed with Circus Baby as he was with Ballora. Hell, it wasn't until Circus Baby got possessed by his daughter that he became obsessive around this, because he made Circus Baby's Pizza World to kidnap children. He made the animatronics specifically to kidnap children, and the only one he was really obsessive over was Ballora, because she left him, and he's like, you'll never leave me again. And the only reason he made Circus Baby was because it was an homage to his favorite child, the one that behaved, which we all know appears in the movies. He loves Vanessa so much that he kept her with him all these years. Michael's so goddamn jealous of her. Yeah. And Evan's the lucky one because he got out of this shit when he was young.
Right, I guess that's one way you can say he got out.
Evan was essentially, I believe that Evan was the first ever death in the entire Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and let's be real, that his death was a mercy compared to what came next, because holy hell, he got out of that fast.
That is entirely true. Yeah, versus, a lifetime of torture.
A lifetime of, like, murdering kids, getting stuffed in a suit, and then being burned in hell, essentially, because of all the people that he killed. And that's one more thing that I did want to mention. Cassidy. We have not seen Cassidy, and she is the one that hates Afton the most. Like, we catch at the end of the movie when the original animatronics come back, we see Evan say to Mike that I won't be able to hold him when we're gone. Like, he was holding William prisoner somehow? Like, are you trying to reference Ultimate Custom Night in the fact that you were keeping Afton imprisoned in the location?
I feel like that was definitely the implication.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they were really gearing towards some foreshadowing with that one. But then they also implied that, like, Evan and all those kids, they also, like, implied they, like, moved on.
Yeah.
And went to... Was that mentioned at all in the original games, do you remember? Like, any concept of them, like, escaping and moving on, or was that kind of just a Disney bit for the movie?
So that was 100% a part of the games.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, there's this substance called remnant, and it's essentially when the soul of a child is mixed in with the metal of the animatronics. So the only thing that remnant can't survive is high temperatures. So when the metal is essentially destroyed, the child's spirits are released. But so the thing is, when the animatronics are completely burned down, then the spirits are released. But William Afton kind of fucked with that because he was trying to uncover the secrets of remnant. So he tore the animatronics apart, melted the metal down, and mixed and matched them into a completely different batch. So in doing so, he had separated the child's souls and then mixed different children into one soul and created an actual monster.
Frankensoul.
Oh yeah, a Frankenstein's monster, if you will. And that Frankenstein's monster ended up becoming and actually a monster so much worse than Frankenstein, because Molten Freddy is a goddamn... What the fuck? I search up Molten Freddy and you give me Target?
Beautiful finds at Target.
Beautiful finds at Target. No, that's not Molten Freddy, that's Nightmare Freddy. Where's Molten Freddy?
There.
Yeah, there he is. So
I really dig Molten Freddy.
Molten Freddy is pretty
That's
nice.
Scary.
Isn't he though? He's really nice. In like the sister location game, Molten Freddy was essentially just the sister location animatronics all morphed into one. He was originally called, like, Ennard. As a matter of fact, I do believe that this is Ennard, just minus Circus Baby, because at some point, Circus Baby separates from the original, like, Ennard animatronics.
Yeah.
Because the thing about sister location is it really tries to emphasize the whole 5 bodies mixed into one, because most of Candy Cadet's stories were, like, 5 children all mixed into one. My favorite one is this. I don't know if you've heard Candy Cadet stories, but my favorite Candy Cadet story is this woman who's trapped in a room with 5, I think, what was it? It was 1 door to get out, and she was given 5 different keys. And this dumbass woman just melts the keys down into 1 key, and then she tries to use it to unlock the door, and I'm like, what? How the fuck did you think that would work?
In the room was a furnace, and 5 keys. She was told that each of the 5 keys would unlock one of 5 doors outside her room. Inside each room was a child that she could take with her as she fled the building. But she was only allowed to leave her own room with 1 key, not all 5. Desperate to find a way to save all 5 children, the woman melted the 5 keys together in the furnace to create a single key, hoping it would unlock all 5 doors. Of course, it did not work that way. Now her key opened none of the doors. Rather than leaving her room with a key to 1 life, she had taken with her the key to 5 deaths.
What the fuck?
That is bizarre logic.
It was such... It emphasizes the whole 5 things melted into one, but in the stupidest way possible.
Yeah, I get, like, symbolism, sure, but...
Yeah, sure, but what? That's so stupid. How is she so stupid? And then, what was Molten Freddy called in Security Breach? Tangle, that's what his name was. And he gets even more monstrous. Like, where the fuck? Oh, wait, no. Okay, here he is. Essentially, he's this...
That's right.
Yeah, he's this gigantic blob of, like, unsettled animatronics and spirits.
I do remember that.
Yeah, because there's, like, apparently after being burned down so many times, these spirits are not finished until William Afton is actually dead. So they've been forced to stay in this unholy
that's
conglomeration.
Of what I was wondering was like, I feel like they're not all the way moved on yet.
They're trying so goddamn hard.
They're trying real hard, but I don't know if that bastard's gonna let him.
No, there's like tiny bits and pieces of them just in there, like, I wanna go to heaven! And it's like, I think about this in a logical-ish way. Parts of their spirit have already moved on, but there's some persons that are left, so I'm just like, thinking of spirits that are halfway into heaven, like there are souls that are just like missing parts of their body in heaven.
No, because I was kind of thinking about that. I was like, they just like are missing like an arm.
Yeah, they're missing. There's a headless child wandering around in heaven right now. He's like, and God's asking him, "So is this your paradise?" What the fuck? Is he gonna say something? He's just talking to Saint John. You let these guys in? So did they? What was it? Some assembly required or some shit?
Yeah.
I am curious as to see if like if they're gonna bring the whole like more of the game aspects into the movies, because they left us with a lot of cliffhangers that reference the ways they want to bring the game into the movies. Because we got, as we mentioned midway through the movie, we got sister location cliffhanger. We got references to, I don't know if my security breach reference was correct, but we definitely got references to Pizzeria Simulator.
Leaving Dead Space. 3, 2, 1. This message is intended as a warning.
Begin tape. Leaving Dead Space. 3, 2, 1. The purpose of this tape is to test automated response times and reactions from vintage interactive attractions following audio stimuli. If you are playing this tape, that means that not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you have found something that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
We got references to Fazbear's Frights.
I'm not joking, I think I just found another room. Get back here right now!
How is this still here? It smells terrible.
Hey man, okay, I have some awesome news for you. You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one. Gotta go, man. Well look, it's in there somewhere. I'm sure you'll see it.
And what else did we get references to? Because there's like...
There were a couple other that I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, just like little slivers, like little tiny bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, little itty bits of like future games to come. Maybe Security Breach was a part of them, but I can't be sure. So, either way, there's a lot that they are preparing themselves for, because the movie makers of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Matthew Lillard himself have said that it's up to the fans if they want a Five Nights at Freddy's 3. But it's obvious that the movie makers really, really want to make Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and they're trying to challenge themselves, because they're like, we want to put all this shit into these movies from all these fucking games. We are so up for it. And I'm like, I'm afraid they're trying to bite off more than they can chew, because it's like, I don't know if you remember, but there are like 10, maybe 11 games, 5 books, and oh my god.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to like, what's the word? Delegate certain aspects, just like sprinkled, like them scattered all over the place, just so that, you know, fans can be like, oh, that's from that one, and, you know, be excited about it. But I don't think they're gonna really, I don't know, maybe they'll make like a series or something to kind of go in more depth, but if they're gonna try and take all of that in, that's like a 10 movie.
Yeah, you thought Harry Potter was long movies.
Yeah, like that's much. That's much.
If you think Harry Potter going from books to movies was long, let me introduce to you Five Nights at Freddy's.
But I mean, hey, they made Twilight, so I mean...
They did make Twilight, so...
There's probably like 15 hours of Twilight, if not more.
So Hollywood's up for it. What we're saying is Hollywood's down for the bullshit, because they don't care. They just want the money.
Yeah, they want, as long as there's 13-year-olds who are begging their parents to see these movies, which there will continue to be
There will always
until
be.
the end of time.
Oh
But
yeah, there's enough games to signify that there will be tiny kids to full-grown adults being like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the movies, Mom, I wanna go to the movies, and there's like, everyone's gonna be involved in this.
It's so weird, because this is like one of those things where this is kind of the first time in our lifetimes where we are faced with this like timeless franchise, and now like little kids are really into it, and we were the first little kids to ever be into it.
Bitch, this was
We were
our
the-
game!
Yeah, like now I know how like 50-year-old dads feel when you're like, oh, I like Star Wars, and they're like, you don't get it!
Oh, Jesus.
You don't understand. You know, like, I get it now, because it's like you look at all these new toys and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is my 3-year-old cousin know who these characters are? Like, this shit was scary back then.
If our parents are watching these videos, they're going, ha ha ha, sweet revenge. Because I was like, the first time I watched Star Wars out of, was with my parents, and I was watching them in chronological order, but my parents, I was so goddamn young that I didn't understand what making movies was like. So when we watched them in chronological order, I genuinely thought that was the order that they were released. So when we got to from number 3 to
So
number
you're like,
4, I was like, yeah, when we went from number 3 to number 4, I was like, wait, why does this look so different?
Hold on a
Let's-
second.
This one looks badder than that one. And my parents were both like, then that's when they decided to teach me about what release dates were.
Right.
Because they were just so pissed.
Prequels and sequels.
See, there's sequels, prequels, and OGs, my boy. Moral of the story, we're gonna be stuck with this franchise for a little while, and these filmmakers, they have a lot on their plate that they have done to themselves, so
Absolutely.
they are 100% going all in on this, and if they get to make more sequels going forward, then it's their own fault. So we have, granted, the fans want a whole lot to see in the future, but they said that they can do it, so you deliver us this promise of you can do it, then you better fucking do it.
I'm very intrigued to see what they're going to do with that ending, with the whole "get away from us."
I can't trust
we can't
you.
trust you. Well, because
Right.
first
Just
of
stay
all,
away.
First, I get that she lied. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get that. Like, I get being a little weary and being like, oh, if she didn't tell us this, what other dangerous facts does she have? But like, she was being threatened by her obviously fucking crazy brother over the threat of surrounding animatronics, and was still like, no, I don't want to join you, I have a family here, I want to protect them. And for him to immediately turn around and be like,
Yeah, not to mention that at the beginning of the movie they were going out together, and he was the one who said this is a date, and I'm like,
yeah, like,
so.
and I get it, like, he's protective over Abby, and I understand that, like, you don't want to be with someone who puts, you know, basically your daughter in a way in danger. And I get that, but it was so abrupt. Like, the people behind us in the movie theater, like 3 people in unison at the same time said,
What? That was the funniest fucking thing.
That was the first time I've ever been in a theater. 3 people, like, the only other people in the theater were like,
huh? Everyone else on around us, like this, there was like people in the chairs above us that were going, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, what the fuck?
I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I don't know, because something that tends to happen a lot within, like, when they leave it off on things like that, it's like it's for hype and you get excited to see how they're gonna solve it, and then they solve it in like the first 3 minutes of the movie. Like, they like duke it out for a second, and then they're like, okay, we're cool. And then they
See
like
ya.
go back to normal like super quickly, and I hate when that happens. So I wonder, but I also at the same time don't want to see them like bullshit fighting each other for like half the movie, because I feel like there's only one of 2 options. It's either going to be like an unrealistic makeup, or like them just battling and bickering throughout like
Jesus
3/4 of
Christ.
the movie.
This was like, I was kind of interested to see if this was like actually Vanessa's genuine villain arc, because it's like part of her is kind of frustrated about this, so I'm like, are you gonna go back to your dad's house and have a look at that circus baby baby animatronic again and maybe, I don't know, fucking let yourself get scooped by it. But then the marionette kind of ruins it because at the very end, the last scene of the movie was the marionette possessing Vanessa's body. And I'm like, well, you ruined it, but at the same time, now what?
Yeah, like, what? Yeah, now fucking what? Are they just... And these movies, I can't quite remember the intro to the first, but they're very kind of rushed in their plot, and especially like with this one, it went from 0 to 100 pretty much immediately. Like even with, you know, Charlotte talking to the parents and everything, like it was supposed to be a moment of neglect and not paying attention, but it still ended up being very quick-paced and very loud and aggressive. And I think that's kind of just going to continue to be a theme within these movies.
Yeah.
It's just very quick, very aggressive, very shouting in your face kind of a deal.
Yeah, I don't think the first movie was really that long, because
It
he's
was
like...
not 110 minutes? Wow, that's not long.
Where'd you see the 110 minutes?
Right there.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not long at all.
Well, yeah.
Compared to, like, modern films that we've been stuck in theaters watching.
Minutes, I mean, it's, for what it is, it's a little long, but
just a little
it's
bit.
It's not a kids movie too. I think I have the kind of, you know, hour 15, hour and a half.
I mean,
time.
I grew up watching Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I'm used to 2.5 hour long films.
That's fair.
Hell, I'm even used to staying that extra half an hour to see the after credits scene because I'd spend like 3 hours in the movie theater just
Not to
on
mention,
this Marvel
like
film.
$30 on a fucking movie ticket.
Oh, Jesus
You're
Christ.
like sitting there with your popcorn like, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Getting whatever I get.
I want to compare like run times of the movies. Like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is 1 hour. Okay, so it's longer, but it's not that much longer.
It's not longer. The other one was 1 hour and 50 minutes, and this one's 1 hour and 44
Oh, I thought you said 1 hour and 15 minutes.
No, 1 hour and 50 minutes.
I'm sorry, I flunked math, so it's...
I was like...
So an hour 50 minutes, and this one's actually like 5 minutes, 6 minutes shorter.
6 minutes shorter.
That's honestly, that's a little insulting. You could have done a whole lot more. We would have loved to sit there for a little bit more to see you explain the actual like plot line or to see where you wanted to go with the movie itself. Hell, I would have loved to see more of the dream sequence of Vanessa, like see more of the circus baby, see Ballora. I don't know if Funtime Freddy or Foxy would be a part of it, but I would have loved to see him actually try and making like human animatronics, because that was one thing that William in the game was obsessed with, was making actual human being animatronics. So I would have loved to see his like at-home laboratory of him just experimenting with wires and tubes, trying to turn them into actual humans. And since the movie rating is PG-13, they can show that. He doesn't involve any organics in his work. It's all robotic.
And do you remember when Scott Cawthon, during the first one, he's like, this is gonna be rated R. This is gonna be the goriest movie you've ever seen. And he got super hyped up. He went on like 3 different talk shows to like hype it up and like how it was gonna be so bloody and gory and it's like, girl, like, where is it? Where's the gore? Give me the blood.
Like,
give me the gore.
What was the goriest kill that we got in the first movie? It was 100% one of the looters who had his face eaten by the cupcake.
And that was like, and it was just like,
that
like
was
blood on the
it.
floor.
That was just like, we even saw his face, I think. Like, hold on, I gotta search up like a video of like what happens. So, FNAF movie.
I feel like my thing is that I love a good, like, really colorful, like, really, like, super kind of a kid's movie that, like, you know, takes a twist into this, like, fucked up, gory, dark nightmare scenario. I'm really into stuff like that. But you have to have that darkness and gore to tie it together, because right now it just looks like a kid's movie that's just not kid appropriate.
See that is a sad attempt at makeup.
Nothing.
That really is nothing. And considering the fact that this guy was killed by Foxy of all animatronics.
I wonder, I think a lot of it has to do with, I think they're trying very hard.
That's the most brutal we get in this film.
Yeah. They're trying to pander to people much younger than, because I mean, at this point in time, the people who are really, really interested in this franchise are pretty young, and I think they're trying their best to appease the original and older audience while at the same time toning it down enough to make it palatable for as young of an audience as they possibly can. But I wish they would have just, and it's also, it's gotten very commercial, but I wish they would have gone very, very dark with it. And
I
they
wish
didn't.
so.
But that's just me. I'm always like that.
Believe me, I have the exact same thoughts that you do, and my thoughts, I actually have the exact same thoughts about a different film that came out a little while ago, Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Oh,
I really wish that one was R-rated, and
fucking sucked.
I know!
That shit was ass.
It was so bad. I was so excited for it. I was so hyped, and it was so bad. Andy Serkis, I'm sorry. I love your work, but god damn it, this is not the best. I know that he was forced to comply with a PG-13 rating and a shorter runtime than standard Marvel movies.
Was that around, when did the writers strike? That was before the writers strike.
I think it was before the writers strike, yes.
It had to have been.
Yeah, that was like ages ago.
Yeah.
Let There Be Carnage was pre-COVID, and that was like, when was the writer's strike in comparison to COVID?
I guess, yeah.
I think it was after it, right? Oh, fuck. I can't quite remember, but...
Was Let There Be Carnage the last one that was made?
No, that was the second one.
I mean, like the newest.
The newest one is Last Dance.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Right. There's like only 3 Venom films, but...
Yeah, there's not many. I'm not a huge... I feel like a conflict that we will arise is that I am not a Marvel fan.
That's okay. My Marvel erection is dying down over the years.
And no shade. You can love what you love, but I am not a Marvel person, and I'm not that big. If I was given the choice, DC 100%, but there's a lot of DCs. I don't like Superman. I don't love Superman. I like, Batman. Like, as cheesy as it is, I love the 2016 Suicide Squad.
Hey, I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen that Suicide Squad movie, but I gotta say that...
You haven't seen Suicide Squad?
No, I've seen the Suicide Squad, and that one was really fucking good, mostly because it was funny, but I haven't seen Suicide Squad. I've seen bits of it. The only reason I didn't watch it is because I was slightly disappointed by Killer Croc, because growing up, I grew up on this one DC series called The Batman, and it's one of the reasons why I love Batman, because despite the fact that I have had a Marvel boner for years, I got to admit, Batman is one of the most unique superheroes in history.
Did you watch The Batman, the movie, in 2022?
I fucking
What did
loved
you
it.
think? Thank you. We were gonna fist fight if you said you didn't like it. We were
Oh,
gonna,
God,
we're
no.
gonna fight on camera.
The only thing I was slightly uncomfortable with was the fact that it was 3 hours long, but it was 3 hours of awesomeness, and I was like, the reason I was upset with it was because the first time I watched it, we were in a hotel, and we were on vacation, and I was like, please keep going, please time, just slow down so I can finish this fucking movie, and we didn't end up finishing it, so we had to download it when we got home and watch it all over again, because it's like, I want to go through the awesomeness again.
It is pretty long, but at the very least, there's a very stark difference between that kind of movie and, Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Oh my god, there's
think,
such a big difference.
Like, when a movie like this is really long and drawn out, it's like, oh god, kill me. What else could you possibly be shoving down my throat?
Oh,
and then with something like that, it's more like, oh my gosh, like, what's next?
What's coming next? I gotta see it. It's like, you can't, with the movie like The Batman, you have got to see what comes next, but if you try to expand something like the Five Nights at Freddy's movies into that 3-hour runtime, you gotta work a little bit more to earn that runtime, other than just this for 3 hours, because it's like... At some point, you're just gonna fall asleep knowing that, hell, they probably didn't even put enough information into these movies, because honestly, I feel like we got about 45 minutes of exposition and backstory.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just, it's not enough for this.
The way that they, the correlation between the games and the movie itself is very confusing to me, because I have not gotten, like, deep diving into the Five Nights at Freddy's universe in a long time. Like, I know a fair amount. Like, I was really, really into the games, but I was really, really into the games a good couple of years ago.
That was like a while ago.
That was a minute ago. And, I still love it. But when it's been so long and it isn't fresh in your mind, it's really kind of hard to tell, like, I don't feel like that happened, and, like, I don't think this really fits here, and it makes it really confusing to kind of get a grip on it. And I think they're either making this movie for two different extremes, people who don't know anything about it, or people who know every single thing about it and can pick it apart like that. And I feel like if you're anything in between, you just get stuck in this limbo of, oh, I guess that makes sense, but does it? Like, chronologically?
Yeah.
Like, it becomes very that.
It really does. There were a lot of moments, like, I'm not exactly the hardcore fan of the games. I mean, like, in actuality, I've played, like, 3 of the games, but...
Oh, yeah.
Overall, I am really into the lore, and my knowledge of the lore comes from, like, FNAF fan pages and the film theorists who put together, or the game theorists who put together an entire timeline, and I believe their theories about it, so I consider that to be canon, but overall, I get that putting what the film theorists call the full timeline into a movie spectrum is damn near impossible, but the thing is, if you do it right and you cherry pick what you can, like, cherry pick little things that you can actually take from the games and put into cinema, you can make something really awesome. Like,
absolutely.
I really wish that we got to see, like, a cinematic version of how William Afton died, because in the games, he was chased into the back room by the ghosts and forced into the costume because they cornered him, and out of fear of the unknown, he had no idea what they could or couldn't do, so he got into his suit to try and scare them away, and the old-ass suit kind of broke down on him, so it's like, yeah, it was literally karma, bitch. So, I would have loved to see that in cinema form, just being chased down by a bunch of ghosts. Hell, I would have liked to see flashbacks of him just going back to the old pizzeria and tearing down the animatronics, because it's like, the one thing I do wish that they really brought into cinema was the whole father and son rivalry, because they were essentially arch enemies in the game, and that's another reason why the 2 different Michaels really pissed me off, because Michael Afton is supposed to be the avenger of the whole saga. Like, William Afton commits the killings, he makes the ghosts, and now he separates the ghosts and tortures them throughout the locations. Michael, finally discovering what his father did, goes to avenge him, burns down the locations and set the spirits free, and eventually free himself from all this crap, because he gets involved in a way that is absolutely horrifying, and I think it's almost poetic the way that he gets involved, because essentially William Afton gets stuck into the animatronic suit, but Michael Afton gets animatronic stuffed inside of him, because that motherfucker gets scooped and has Ennard take over his body for weeks to the point that he actually rots. So it's honestly poetic in a way, and I feel like it would make for good cinema if done right. I can't do it, but
they're not doing that.
They're not doing it.
They're not giving us those vibes. They're not, it's not, again, like I said, there's no subtlety to it. It's very in your face, very, trying to push all these different factors, and they don't really, like, let you linger on how fucked up this whole situation is. Like, they don't really show, they're like, oh, he died, like, but they never really kind of go into, like, how fucked up and how really gross all of this lore is.
Yeah.
And they also, one thing that really kind of pissed me off is that they went for this weird, like, funny, cheesy factor, but didn't go all the way. Like, that whole, I want to see what's inside your head.
I just want to see what's going on inside of his head.
Oh my God, 3 times!
3 times. Like, it was like, ha. The first time, the third time, I was like, shut.
I know. And that, like, oh my God. And the fact, the Toy Freddy line, you remember how Toy Freddy's voice in Ultimate Custom Night was, Mr. Hugs got me again.
Mr. Hugs got me again. If I get jump scared, you get jump scared.
Kellen Goff, I love you. You're an awesome voice actor, and I love that you have been trapped in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise specifically to voice different versions of Freddy. But I'm not okay with the voice that you gave Freddy, because it's this
so lame.
It's this Terminator-esque low volume with this voice techno influence that only got 1 line.
I do, but first, I have to go pull the heads off some very bad people. You left me to die. All of you did.
1 goddamn line.
Like, if you're gonna do 1 line, you better make it worthwhile.
And I would have loved to hear that line when he was doing, if he were doing the cartoony voice, because, what was it? His line was, I'd love to, but I have to go rip people's heads off.
Yeah.
But, imagine if the fucking Toy Freddy line, the Toy Freddy voice.
The animated cartoony.
I really want to play, but right now, there's some people who need to get their heads ripped off. Oh my god.
Something like that.
Something along the lines of that. And, oh my god. Poor Kellen. I really like him. He's a good voice actor, and I wish he got more lines for Freddy, but... oh, and another thing that I wanted to touch base on. How did you enjoy Matt Pat's Toy Bonnie performance?
My name is Bonnie. Can we be friends, Debbie?
At first, I didn't know what to think about it, but I was like, well, if he had more lines, I could warm up to this.
Right, like, there wasn't enough to get used to it, to where it was kind of just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the robotic element almost drowned out the fact that it was Matt Pat. Like,
I didn't really even catch it at first.
Yeah.
And you said something, I was like, oh, I guess, that does kind of sound like, like...
Because at first, there's so much filtering that you can't even recognize it at first.
You don't really know, and it's like, okay, sure, it's a cameo, that's cute.
Yeah, Megan Fox made bank off of Chica's voice, and Jesus Christ.
I do not like her.
You won't get tired of my voice, will you? You won't get tired of my voice, will you?
I sure fucking will.
Oh, god damn it.
Sure will.
If only we had the squeaky toy Chica from the Ultimate Custom Night. Hell, I don't know.
Like, who do they think watches these movies, and why do they think that these people would be like, oh, Megan Fox, that's exciting? Like, the only thing I can think of that I liked her in was Jennifer's Body, and she sucked in that too. I just think it was campy.
Yeah, and listen to the voice actor performance that we got from Toy Chica in Ultimate Custom Night. Like, Megan Fox is competing against this. We have a clear winner.
Remember how I said we needed your help? We are free. We better hurry if we want to get to the science fair in time. Thank you, Abby.
You won't get tired of dying, will you? Where's my beak? Lodged in your forehead, of course. You won't get tired of my voice, will you?
Right? It's pretty fucking obvious. Like, did they even show this to her to, motivate her or to make her, I don't know, shoot for the kind of character that she was playing?
The scratchy, squeaky, and Megan Fox just... She did, but did she,
I don't know. She did something. It was
it could have been a lot worse, don't get me wrong. It's not like Chris Pratt where he just goes into that fucking voice box and does whatever he wants.
God damn.
At least she didn't play that game where it's like, oh, it's a celebrity, so it doesn't matter.
Right?
But,
Jesus.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes rating?
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes, I think, gave it God.
The first one was 33, 14%.
14%. Okay, hold on. We gotta go... Yeah, let's go. Let's search IMDb because it will have both Rotten Tomatoes and the
fan.
Yeah, and the fan base. Yeah. Okay, so we've got
user reviews.
5.6
out of 10. That's not terrible.
I mean, I would give it. What do we want to rate this out of the 10?
All right, out of 10. All things considered, maybe. For me, maybe a 2.
Ooh, dang.
Maybe.
I was gonna cut the film some slack and give it a 4 for the horror elements of movie-wise.
I'll bump it up to a 3 for the jump scares and stuff. Yeah, I'll go 3.
Yeah, I'm completely tossing aside my love for the game and just considering the fact that it's its own movie.
I'm trying to find a balance between those two.
Oh, it's so unfortunate that the way you have to enjoy this movie is you have to toss the overthought story of the game aside for a little bit. You have to dive into the element that is this movie's completely different universe. And I understand that because it's movies versus games. They're so goddamn different. And being a cinema lover myself, I understand the fact that you have to dive into a whole new universe when you watch the movie. And it's you gotta understand that where they're coming from in a way, the foundation that built the films is Five Nights at Freddy's, and the way they honor that is nice, and the way that they bring some new horror aspects in that is nice. It's just not enough. It's not enough for me, so I gotta go with a 4, solid. I was gonna say 3.5, but out of respect for the horror aspects, I'm going like 4 even, so that's just it for me. 4 out of 10 for me.
I wish it was a little grittier. I wish it was a little more found footagey, a little more, a little more analog. But, it's Hollywood. And Hollywood does what Hollywood has done. I wish will continue to do.
I wish it were gorier. I wish
absolutely.
The most disappointing part of the first film was the spring lock death, because I was like, I guess you're trying to give it a realistic look, but it's like. We had so much more in mind for this, because imagine, if you will, the fact that trampoline springs, like if they're fully stretched out, those fuckers become missiles, and you think that these titanium-like springs, when they're fully springed up, they become missiles themselves. So if they're like locked into place in a suit,
so much pressure just constantly built up in there.
Yeah, and it's a whole different way of stabbing into you, like an actual spring just swirls into your body. How fucking brutal would that be?
Have you seen the new Final Destination?
Oh god, how many of them are there? I don't think I have.
It just came out a couple months ago, but there's a scene where there's like an issue with an MRI, and you know how MRIs are just giant magnets. You know the vending machine spirals?
Oh,
one of them
Jesus.
comes out right and just
right
through the head.
That looks so cool.
That's my first thought. Yeah, you should. I wonder if it would be on YouTube.
I don't know.
But
YouTube has a lot of unexpected movies for free. They had a Marvel movie for free on YouTube not too long ago, and I'm like, how the fuck did you manage to play that for free? That is $1 million movie. How did you do that? Magic. But overall, I would rate this one not as good as the first one. I like the aspects of the first one because of like how different it is from the games, and how it tries to reshape the possessed animatronic look of this one. And the only reference we get to this one at the game being like the game is the fact that Mike spends 1 hour at the location. He's playing the game for a fucking hour, and that's... The name of the game is Five Nights, people. This is 1 goddamn hour. 5 nights. And honestly, that was my favorite part of the whole movie. The fact that Mike, because we have to be Michael versus Mike now. Mike was literally playing the game in the film.
I forgot to mention that. I 100% agree. That was like the best part of the entire movie, was it being like the game at all.
Yeah, and the fact that it actually, like, the prototype animatronics in the background were literally just prototypes, and it's different in that they're just robots, and the face mask that Mike actually uses a Five Nights at Freddy's faceplate to disguise himself as an animatronic, and it works. And I didn't think about the fact that the reason Foxy couldn't tell that it was an animatronic was because his scanner was broken. And I was like, damn, that could not only be the reason why he can see through the disguise, but it could also be the reason why...
It's just a glitch.
Yeah, and it could also be the reason why lights fuck with him and make him, like, reboots, because...
He was all...
His scanners and eyes were fucked up, and he only has one of those, so it's a lot of pressure on this poor eye of his.
Yeah, the singular eye of his. I think there was a lot of really kind of cheap little bits that were obviously just, like, meant to make the fans have a bit of a chuckle.
Yeah.
And they did not lean into that horror comedy vibe or a campiness vibe. Like, they didn't... It was all just very jumbled, and they didn't really pick one side or another in like any aspect of it.
Yeah, I really wish they did try to navigate the whole horror comedy aspect of it a little bit more. Alas, we were left with this, which is It needs work. And oh boy, Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I have no idea what they're going to even try to do, because they have a lot to work with in the sense that they have little to nothing to work with, because it's Michael Afton you're playing as in the game, and he's seeing phantoms of the previous animatronics. Mangle, Freddy, Chica, Balloon Boy, and they're not even real. The only real animatronic is Springtrap, and there's no doors, there's vents that you can seal. It's probably one of the most sporadic Five Nights at Freddy's games ever made, but there's so little happening. Granted, it's a human and an animatronic, so there's a lot more on the line, because he's actually thinking, he's actually moving, it's actually against an intelligent opponent, but other than that, there's nothing. There's the phantom scaring you, there's occasional vent issues, audio issues. What else was there? Audio, vents, there were 3 systems in the game. That's the audio errors, the ventilation errors. I can't remember the third one for the life of me. Fuck. Either way, it's just so little that they have to work with. I'm curious what they're going to even try to do with it, because the most action that you would get in the third game is the mini games that you would play to, like, set the kids' spirits free, because there was, like, it's kind of like a interesting take on side quests where you would unlock different Easter eggs throughout the game, and essentially you'd start playing as the marionette who would free the 5 kids' spirits by giving them cake in the spirit world, which was cute, and I like the twist on I like the twist on the side quests, the whole thing, but it's like, how do you put that in a movie?
You don't, and I think that's the tough part.
That's the tough part.
It's too much.
I'm really scared. I'm scared of the third movie, and not for the right reasons. So yeah, overall, there it is. There's our take on the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, and what they have done already, what they have made in the movies, and what they've got coming up, because they've got
shameless money grabs that they will continue to make.
And it will continue to work no matter how bad it is.
And our dumbasses will still be sitting in that theater giving them our, $13.
If only we could just figure out how to break into the movie just to watch it in spite of them. Like, not giving them money, just looking at it like, I'm gonna laugh at this. This is bad.
Right? When you start pirating.
That's our take on the Five Nights at Freddy's view. For you guys watching it, I hope you enjoyed our commentary. I hope you enjoyed us talking about this. I really want to post more like movie ratings, because I love film and I love talking about it. I love talking about horror movies. I want to watch more horror movies with this person, because this is an awesome horror movie person to watch with, because they love film and they love horror just as much as I do. So we're going to talk about shit to come up. I have so many movies planned for us to watch and rate in the upcoming future.
Many arguments to be had.
Many arguments, many conflicts to be had, much shit to be thrown at the movies. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you all later.
Bye-bye.